Hello, this is Frank, and today I'm going to show you in this video how we take the original voxel data and create the new level for this reboot. So this is Shamazaar, and as you can see there are tons of little tiles that make the level, and in each tile is stored the height of the surface. So basically it's for each pixel a column of voxel that describes the height of the surface. And this is for example a rock formation and the associated height tile which is stored in a TGA file. Not only the rock formation can be made with voxels like this, but also the walls, as can be seen here. And also over there on the dock. And you can see the height data for all the temples as well. Next we have some additional data for the walls. In order to map textures on those walls we need to have special attributes, special colors, and for each color you have a direction from the world to map the actual texture data onto the wall. Then we have the color. These files are the exact same files as the height, and you can see here the same rock formation again, this time with the color. And you can also see that the shadows are baked into the color they actually painted by hand. Unfortunately, this method creates some stretchings in the vertical slopes, and you cannot create overhangs or stuff like that because there is this convexity constraints due to the height field data for the voxels. Some of the tiles from the temple over here, same thing, just larger collections of tiles for a single object. Then there is this special data, which is basically the type of terrain you're walking on. So there are attributes for the water, for the mud, for the walkable surface or blocking surfaces and so on. Now, how do we take those data and turn them into 3D objects made of polygons for modern engines? First we start with a box, and with the top being tessellated into a grid of 128 by 128 polygons, which is basically the exact same size as the original tiles. And we import the height field onto that grid, and that creates basically the exact same objects as they were originally. So we have now, using polygons, the exact same shapes from the original data set. It's highly unoptimized that way, but it's just a start. You can see some of the larger objects require several tiles, 4 tiles for example for this rock formation. So we need to merge them to create a single object. Then we import those meshes into 3D Code, which is a 3D sculpting application that uses voxels. But this time these are actual 3D voxels. You are really unconstrained in terms of topology. And we do that for all the tiles that you've seen. So we now have them in true voxels. Each of them is in true voxel, and we can start sculpting those, add details, and so on. Then we import the result of resculpt into Maya again, and we have basically final object in terms of polygons. And we do that for all the objects and recreate the original map, but with the entirely newly sculpted objects. Now we want to put textures on those objects, and we are using a special shader to do that. Usually when you put some textures onto an object, you need UVs, which are texture coordinates. In order to map a 2D texture onto a 3D object, you need texture coordinates. And for these special terrain objects, we don't use explicit UV coordinates. It's generated on the fly using various techniques, and we now have a collection of tileable textures, and we can paint using a vertex paint tool different weights to blend between those tileable textures. So for the ground, for instance, you can blend between the grass and the rocks or the sand, and you can see it blends quite nicely, going through the cracks and stuff like that. You can blend between different textures, and you can also tint the textures. For instance, the grass can be made more yellow, or it can be made more bluish. In order to map the rock textures on vertical slopes, let me show you how our triplanar shader works. Basically, you can create any shape, so it can be a shape sculpted and imported from another application, just like we did with the rocks. But let me show you with a simple sphere how it can work with our shader. So if I start sculpting the shape of the sphere, the texture will map automatically. Now if I choose the grass material, as you can see, it will only apply the grass onto the horizontal surfaces. The same goes for the sand. Now if I sculpt more the shape of the object, the grass will apply on the horizontal slopes automatically. So it's a kind of nice way to quickly texture large surfaces. We can focus more on the quality of the textures. Some of the environment objects cannot be textures using this triplanar method. Sometimes you need actual explicit UVs and create specific textures for a specific object. And it's the case with the little dots over here. So I start with the original tile, convert those to voxel, and then start sculpting more detail using the sculpting tool. We are using a variety of sculpting tools such as Mudbox, ZBrush, and 3D Coat. It all depends on the kind of object you want to make. Then those sculpts are baked into textures, normal map textures, and we paint on top of that the diffuse and other attributes for specular and so on. And then integrate back the object into the level. Thanks for your time and talk to you soon.